to serve. Do I need to start over? uh, that was really that I guess again the ball that got rolling for us and do that. And quite frankly, we're having a lot more fun with the service projects that we do. So then once you execute the project, you got to tell the community before and after. You got to tell them what you're going to do, and then you really got to tell them what you've done. And that's where I think the marketing chair through social media, contact with the paper, whatever it could be, becomes very important for people to find out. Again, 6 years ago, we started out with 100 followers on our Facebook. And I think now we're up to, we're getting close to 2,000, none of it paid for. And you could say, well, 100 is not very many, or 500 is not very many. Heck, almost 2,000 isn't very many. But what you don't know is how many people share it and how many people search and happen to find something on it, and you get a lot of hits that way. And people start, once you get a roll going, people start to see, wow, the Lions are everywhere. And I think that's important. Another service project we got in, obviously, Special Olympics of Minnesota, big new pool down in Lakeville. And we had made a donation up against the site. And so we want to get out there and help them. So we had Lions in there as timers, going to help, and that's a great community thing. But that's an example where we went and helped another group. So we do that stuff. But because we did that, people weren't, oh, I'm interested in the Lions because you showed up to help Special Olympics. So it's part of the DNA that we are. But what I'm heading here towards is that 50% of the time, everything we're doing is stuff that we're leading in service. So making it happen and looking for the outcomes of what's going on. Lions Club that organize meaningful community service projects make a significant impact on the people that they serve. And that's where that whole, is it good? Does it have the it factor? Because people talk, they may not join the Lions, but they're going to tell people how the Lions helped them. And that may make an impact or inspire somebody else. Then our own Lions feel like they made a valued contribution. They feel good about the work that they did. They didn't do it for the hours. Our people could really care less about the hours. They're doing it because it feels good to do it. And I think that's important too. And again, potential members are more likely to join and support the project. So what I'm going to jump to here is I just got some samples of things that I'm just going to kind of talk about and talk through and really some learnings, because I think the learnings of these things is what got important to us. Now we'll see if I'm any good at this here. Oh, that ain't going to work. Okay. Let me try this one more time. Of course not. I was so good when I was practicing. We'll see if this works. Okay. No, it ain't going to work. So give me 1 second. There we go. All right, we'll try that. Okay. Are you seeing the picture of a bunch of people?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So this first thing I'm going to talk about is Sleep in Heavenly Peace. And what made this cool is, and this is an example of a service project that's morphed into something beyond belief. You may have heard of this group. They ultimately what they do is they build bunk beds for kids that are sleeping on the floor. And I think it's 7 or 8 years ago, and this was kind of the impetus of how things started to change and how our service project started to change. This young couple, Nate, he spoke at our district convention. He opened up the 5th chapter of Sleep in Heaven and Peace in the United States. And they had never built a bed. They didn't have any money. They didn't have any tools, but it's a pretty well-known organization right now that builds a bed. And they ended up making a presentation to us, asking us for some money. We gave them a donation, but we said, but we want to be the group that comes and builds the beds with you. So they're 501c3s, so we can make the donation out of gambling. We would have had fundraising money, but we chose to spend it towards this group. because we got to show up and help them. This isn't back in, this is actually just a year ago or so on this one here. But the idea was we'd go them and help. And then, they were so early in the stages that they didn't have, they weren't into Sign Up Genius. They didn't even know who to get. So we would use our Sign Up Genius account to procure volunteers, but we would send that out and we would blast that out through our social media. And we would ask the entire community of Lakeville, anybody that want to sign up and come in and do that. And this is back when we were a club of 42 people. And we ended up, having a great crew turnout there. I think the first year we built 20 beds and it took all weekend. What's happened over the last 8 years, and what's cool about this is that the directory of Sleep in Heavenly Peace, this chapter, and our club is they're up on parallel paths. While we've grown to 100 members, they've grown to now where they have built over 3,000 beds. They do 5 builds a year, and every build they have over right around 400 volunteers show up. And so, but every build every year they tell the story of how the Lions helped make it all start to happen. And again, now this has turned into one of those projects where we're the labor for another organization, and we're not necessarily picking up new members off this one, but it was a good one to do. So that's where I'm saying, like, you can do these things, but once in a while, when you're the leader and you're really kind of bringing it forward, if you're super successful, you may lose the grip on the project because it becomes bigger than your organization itself, and that's okay because they don't forget who got them there, and then the next group may come along and say, hey, we need help, but it's finding a way to insert yourself within that group to make it exciting for your members and possibly bring some new members in and help them grow. Let's see if we can do the next one here. Is that showing up? Are you seeing Family Health Fair?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So this is one, and I'm just kind of doing it through pictures. I figured words or PowerPoints gets a little boring. So this is one that we started 3 years ago. This was our 3rd annual. And again, the idea was, and again, I think I say this in the end. In the end, I encourage everybody to rip off and copy any great service project that you see, because chances are, if they did it in Scandia Marine, nobody heard about it down in Lakeville. So search the country, search everywhere. We won't steal anything from Burnsville because they're right next door. But we kind of found this one, and I can't remember if it was Woodbury or one of the places up there that I think they tried to do this, and so we started it. I'll just get a couple pictures here. We had 30 vendors come in. We got a partnership with the city, so they let us use the Heritage Center. They come in. It was a family health expo, and this is the 3rd year we did it. There's not a lot of people in there. And one thing when we do a service project, if it made it through all the tests and conversations that we do, we'll give it 3 years to see if it can make it go. And but I could tell you 30 minutes into this thing, I was talking to the service chair, and she says, I think this is over. Because it's the vendors love it. The vendors are excited. They're like, let's do it 2 times a year. But we only put 150 people through there. Now, 150 people at another town may be a great thing, but in our town of 70,000 people, and we got 150 people through there, I'm like, something wasn't right. And we advertised it, and we had signs up, and we had the city advertising for us, and the chamber helped us advertise, and all these individual businesses helped us advertise it for it. So something wasn't quite on the mark. But the moral of the story is that at 30 minutes into it, of a 3-hour event, we're ready to say, okay, we got to figure out what we're doing next October. And then within 30 minutes, the president of the chamber walked in and said, how's it going? And we're like, well, it's a little soft. We've tried it for 3 years. We're looking for ideas because the vendors really want to do this, all the different places that showed up there. I don't know what all these, we went as far as we brought in the health, the ponies that make you feel good. And they were walking around. I think, of course, we took way too many pictures of the ponies, but I think we got the fire department was there. They were showing how to do CPR. I think if you get back here, we had the cops on the ponies, but I mean, we were doing we were doing everything we could outside and in. I think the fire department was um, doing different things to show how to use fire extinguishers. So we tried to make it really inclusive, and it still didn't work. So bottom line is, the president of the chamber walks in, and she says, they do a fall expo, and it's the home show and business expo, and sorry, it's in the spring, and it's in March, and they get 3,000 people through that thing, and it's held at the high school. And I'm like, yeah. And she says, they are stuck, and for the last 5 years, they can't get it over 3,000 people, no matter what they do and try. And she said, you guys do a lot of good stuff. How would you feel about partnering with us? We have 1/3 of our gymnasium that we don't have filled of all this, stuff that winds around the high school. Why don't you come in? We'll figure out how we're going to deal with the vendors, and then we'll make a section where people are home show, business expo, and then they can kind of walk through the health fair section. Instantaneously gave us 3,000 people, more than what we had this year. Because they believe the efforts that we're doing, they can draft off of that and help their event grow to 4,000 people now, because of the history of that event. So, the moral of the story is, don't give up, no matter, and talk to people and figure out and just correct the path, and don't, pick up your marbles and go home every way. I think that's a pretty cool deal. So we're gonna have the meeting, but everybody's already excited about it, and so it could be a good thing. So again, that's an example of, no matter how hard you try, and we got the participation, everybody, we did everything. It's like, why isn't the community engaging? Just so happens every weekend's been 80 degrees down here, and guess where you're not going to go when it's 80 degrees and you got kids? To the Heritage Center to worry about your health. So now we're going to be in the spring. People have spring fever. We're going to disconnect it from the flu shots, which we, back when it was coming out of COVID, we gave out COVID and flu shots. We're going to disconnect that part and put it in the spring when people got, cabin fever, and then we'll see what happens. But I think it's the moral of the story thing that I wanted to address here. Going to the next one real quick here. This is most of the stuff I'm just showing you through Facebook. This was the adaptive golf tournament. Several years ago, we got a grant from LCI to build a miniature golf course. It was an adaptive baseball field next door, and so we dropped in an adaptive golf course, mini golf course, next to that, so people with disabilities could play golf. And then, that's one thing you do it. You donated the money, but where we took it to the next level is we said, let's do an adaptive golf tournament for these kids, partner them with somebody, that it could be a mentor, and then they do a little miniature golf tournament. So I think it's our second year. It's a great turnout. Doesn't cost us a lot of money. I think we're into it for a few prizes and some hot dogs, and people are coming about it, and it was really great for everybody that was there. But it really drew an impact, and when we promoted it on social media and it got in the paper and everything that we showed about it, that it's more part of this. Man, the Lions are doing stuff. They're getting involved, and then we just bring that exposure out in this example that's out there. So that was that one. Community Service Day. I think we've talked about that one. This would be another key one that I call as one of my favorites. I think Scandin Marine did it first, and as I said, we just ripped them off and said, okay, let's figure out how we could do that. And the why I like this one, it's there's small clubs, and then there's big clubs, and there's small towns and big towns. This is one that you don't need a lot of Lions. And the magic for us has been, or the willingness for Lions to actually put our hands in our pocket and truly lead. This is the one where we do that. And so I think our first year we did it with 15 Lions. I think you could do one of these with 10 Lions. I tell clubs around me, if you want to do one of these, we'll bring over 10 Lions to help you kick it off if you don't have enough Lions to do it. Because what we did is we reached out to the community, and we have over 100 people every year from the community come in and do our various projects. And we try to do 5 projects every year, same places that last thing was held at. Let me find what we're doing. So we're having people there. We're doing foods. We do a food thing. We make tie blankets. We're making greeting cards for people. We were bundling socks. I'll veer off and talk about this one. There's a place called The Drawer down here. They do socks and underwear for people in need. So you can just donate to The Drawer, for fundraising and give the money away. But they need help, and they got to take all that money they get and they buy socks and underwear, and they get socks and underwear donated, and they got to bundle that into the right packaging so they can give it out to those in need. So that's where they need the help. And the key on this one is that we can load up 10 Lions and we can go help them do their project at their site, or we get 2 van loads of socks and underwear. I think it's like 15,000 pairs. We bring them back to Lakeville. I think it was a town away. We bring them back, and then we bring in the people for our event, and we do the bundling, off site from where the core 501c3 is. So this is the little magic piece where we made it our own, because anybody can go to The Drawer and help them bundle socks. But what we did is took the role of leadership. They came to our event. They were bundling socks. Every one of these organizations that we donated to, they made a little speech. They understand what they were working for, but it was an event put on the Lions for the people of Lakeville and surrounding communities to kind of come in. And so I thought that was kind of cool. And same thing, we make the quilt blankets. Our partner with Sleep in Heavenly Peace came in. And then everybody always had tears in their eyes, because every one of these organizations would tell the story of what their stuff was going to. Sleep in Heavenly Peace was telling the story how they were leaving there from that event. They already had beds loaded in the car, and they were going to some family's house in Lakeville where 3 kids were sleeping on the floor and going to deliver 3 beds, and 3 of the blankets that were just made that day are going to be put on those beds. I mean, that's impact and passion. All that stuff starts rolling in there and gets people pretty excited. And then what happens out of that is guaranteed every year. I think we're in our 5th or 6th year. We get 1 or 2 members a year join because they randomly decided to participate this and learn more about what we do. Sometimes they went to it 2 years ago. Their kids graduated, and they all of a sudden they called and said, "We want to join." I'm like, "How'd you find out about us?" "I went to Community Service Day 2 years ago and thought it was great. And now I got the time, I'm here." So again, you've got to find the projects, find the service projects. People want to volunteer, but then you want them to think that your organization is the key to great volunteering opportunities and or service projects. And that's where I always kind of say, careful, they don't join to go to meetings, and they don't join to do fundraising. They'll help fundraising if they can see that it's going to, oh, we donated $3,000 to The Drawer, and now we're going to help them bundle the socks that are going to go to people, or we're making quilts that go to Sleep in Heavenly Peace. That's the kind of connection that we believe, or I believe, and our board believes, that service projects, how we're tying them together, has got people starting to walk through the door and join. So, and we don't ask everybody that comes to the door, "Hey, you want to join?" either. It's, they got to approach us. We have to be approached. Or, "Tell me more about the Lions." And then we ensnare them into our web and close the sale. I'll do this one quick, and this is just a blood drive, because I like this one because you talk about smaller clubs, or what could we possibly do. Sometimes your city may be saturated with blood drives. There's always a need for blood, and whether it's Memorial or the Red Cross. We tried for 4 years to get a blood drive started, and it's tough, because the Red Cross believes that starting a blood drive is hard, and they'd rather just kind of maintain the ones that they got. But we finally convinced them, and we got one started now, and we go every other month. It's sponsored by the Lakeville Lions, and that's in the connection with the community. It only takes 4 people to run a blood drive. But the thing is, the Lions kind of own the marketing, and we had it at there's a big room on the side of the municipal liquor store. So we came up with give a pint, get a pint, and every other month we get a craft brewer to give us 2 cases of 16-ounce cans, and then when they give their blood, we give them a pint. So it's give a pint, get a pint, and then we always drink the leftovers. But it's going good. We're getting noticed. The Red Cross is very excited because, as I tell everybody, you know, in the world we live in today, 50% of the people don't go to church anymore. And where are most blood drives held at? Church. We did a simple concept. Maybe they'll go here and give blood. And ours is an evening blood drive. So ours starts at 2 and goes till like 7, 8 o'clock. So we're catching the people that are, you know, are coming home from work. And so we just approached it in a different way. But as we promote it, we get to say that, you know, it's being led by the Lakeville Lions and helping out the Red Cross. So again, concept, new ideas, something like that. This last one before I wrap it up. How are we doing on time? I didn't even. Whew, I've got to wrap it up here. This one I just want to show really quick. We had been approaching the Rotary over the years to try to do something together, and we finally got it done. So the group out of Brainerd. Oh, hang on. The group out of Brainerd. Hang on a second. I'm sorry. Outreach program of Brainerd. They did the giant a meal packing event up there about a year ago. We've got them coming down. We each donated some money. We're going to end up doing 5,000 meals, which is 30,000 servings. And the cool thing about it is that we're getting 40 people from our club and 40 people from the Rotary, and we're going to do something together. And we think it's going to be a newsworthy event. And we invited WCCO down. But the idea is that we work together. And eventually, if this thing scales up, we'll be inviting in the community and make it a showcase event for both of our organizations. So in the spirit of trying to work together and showing that, but this year, because it's the first year, we're going to learn how to do it. We're going to learn how to do it right. We're not going to be worried about trying to gain membership out of it. We just want to make sure that when we do invite everybody a year from now from the community, that they walk in and go like, holy cow, this is volunteering. This is service in Lakeville. So we're pretty excited about that. So 80 people between 40 Lions and 40 Rotarians working together. So as long as a civil war doesn't break out, I think everything is going to be great on that thing. So kind of exciting to know. Just I'll blast through this, and this is pretty much the last slide. Kind of my final tips and takeaways. Fundraising and service as labors. You go to help some other group out are necessary and they're good. But what I encourage everybody to do, and again, how we've learned, is that keep it to 50% of your activity. If 100% of the time you're helping other organizations and giving them the labor from your members or doing fundraising, I believe that's the blocker in not letting people come in. So I'm not saying don't do it. You may have to adjust it down or start doing a lot more, leaving 50% of that service to what you are a leader as a Lion Club. Your club, your way. I heard a lot about it last night in my guiding lion training. But if it's not working, I push on clubs like consider a change. Because yes, it's your club and it's your way until you reach down within and say, Jesus, nothing's working here. We got to maybe think about doing something different. What comes first, membership or service? You know, I think a lot of clubs say, I got to get the members so I can do the service. And I say, find the service that you can do with what you have and let that drive your new members. Because people we think they interview us. Potential members interview the club and they want to know what you're about and what you're going to do. And they're not even going to join if you're not organized, don't know what you're doing, and you don't have quality service projects. Small clubs, I say, don't feel defeated. You just got to find the right project. Maybe it's just a blood job for people, but you're putting your name on. Tonight's conversation, I hopefully I didn't come off preachy, but I just wanted to be conversation starters that you can take back into your world and say, you know, have we thought about this? Either little thing is bigger is not better. Start small, grow it big. You don't have to knock it out of the park right away. You just got to start doing something. One little thingy here is I'm like, you know what, if the top 20 cities in Minnesota, their clubs all got to 100 members, we'd add 380 members right off the top into 5M, which I think would be pretty cool. You know, then you could cascade that down to the next size clubs if this all started working. Embrace the idea that being a service leader will do well for your club, meaning lead the projects. And oh, I was supposed to say copy. Copay. Steal and copy any good idea that you come across. Search the USA, steal it from clubs up north. Trust me, I didn't come up with the Brainerd Area Lakes food packing event. I ripped it right off from Brainerd and Nisswa, and I praise them all the time because it's like, what a super great, cool idea, how all those clubs come together. We're overly excited of how we're going to do it this year because we can't wait till next year. So the last thing I with is that this is kind of my ism here. There's three types of people, that wish it would happen, that watch it happen, or what I think I challenge everybody is like figure out a way to make it happen, and then I think it'll be good. So with that, I thank you. My closing little accolade there is last year with all the stuff that we've been doing over the years and growth and membership. The chamber businesses in Lakeville voted us the business partner of the year and awarded us at their annual gala. So that was a pretty cool night for us to get invited to that and be acknowledged. Nobody thought that was going to happen 5 years ago. So with that, any quick questions for those that are on or 7:54, not bad.
Nice job. Nice job.
Oh, I just want to say I really like the way that you were able to take an idea and continue to grow it and grow it. And that Community Day of Service, I think, is just a marvelous idea. I really do. How much fun can that be? And, just way to go.
Yeah. No, I think it's, we're going to try to do, as at the district level, we did a district community service day with Judy last year, but the more I start talking about it, it's like, no, we got to go to a club that's struggling. I'll call it under 20 members, under 15 members. And as a district, help them put on that event, but it's all local to their town. So we're going to help bring members in and they're going to take all the credit. Again, the biggest challenge with the community service day is trying to get Lions to stand around with their hand in their pockets and lead. Because we want to just, no, we got to get this done so we can go. But it's one of my favorite things we do because it's the biggest engagement we see out of the community. Yeah. And in fact, this year, we have there's a group called Magic Yarn. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. Again, our service chair just found the group. It started down in Florida about this woman there was these special hats that you could crochet into it and you could make kind of like a cartoon wig. And then they would give that to kids that were experiencing childhood cancer. And so this started up and they got chapters just like Sleep in Heavenly Peace. And there's one chapter in Minnesota and it's out of Rochester. So they're making these little kind of cartoonish wigs that the kids just love. And then they're going to all the kids that are down in Rochester, with cancer. And so we have her coming up and, there's a prep part of it. And then there's the actual doing it. Well, that's going to be one of those projects this year. So we're going to bring exposure to that event, but it's going to happen, while they're there. And our own Lions, it's like, who knows how to crochet anymore and can do this. We've got 10 Lions that are going to help with the whole pre-package of getting these things kind of set up. So when the volunteers come in, they don't necessarily know exactly what they need to do. They can be taught and they can put that thing apart. And it's gotten to the point where the excitement about it is so good. We believe that will become our future childhood cancer project on a standalone project, if it's good. And so, in fact, the gal is going to be speaking at our club at the end of October. Our community service day is in January. And it's just kind of cool. But again, I think she saw it on the Sunday morning show is where she saw it. And then she just chased it down. And who knows, it could be a standalone event for us, really, really targeted towards childhood cancer. Because I wondered about the demand. It's like they can't make enough of them, apparently, for what this group is doing. So, but appreciate your comments.
I just wanted to mention that our Shoreview Club is a smaller club, and this will be our third year of doing our Community Day of Service, and we actually do it right on Martin Luther King Day because kids are off of school and everybody wants something to do. And so we had people coming out of the woodworks to get involved in this. Kids, parents, it was fun. It's a great project. So. Any other questions for Paul?
Just want to thank you,
Okay.
Paul.
Yes, no problem.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Paul. It was great as always. Love hearing you talk about this.
And
many-
congratulations on your award. I can't imagine anybody in the region that could come close to the kind of work that you have just described to us. So very inspiring. Thank you.
Well, I think the biggest thing is encouraging clubs not to give up, because the hardest thing is actually finding the projects.
Mhm.
You know, because most organizations they're all segmented and they're doing their own little thing. So this kind of traditional Lions Club, I'm actually excited about trying to start new clubs where you just find a group of people with a common cause and like turn it into a club, you know, but you're keeping existing clubs alive and well. You know, that's where you got to find that one spark plug in your club that likes to chase down the new ideas, and then make sure that, you know, the certain table doesn't block it from going forward. So our guys have completely given up and they're like, you go, we're just going to sit back and watch. So
Well, and everybody, please share Paul's information. I'm sure he's happy to entertain questions and
Yep.
talk with anybody about developing service projects. So thank you so much, Paul. I owe you.
hey, no problem.
So.
Very nice.
I'll see you at the cog. I'll see you at the cog for my cocktail.
Yeah, see you at the COG. So, and everybody, please, our next webinar is next month, and we're going to talk about marketing. So please get some people excited about talking marketing your club. So
Say,
thanks everybody for coming. Sorry, Jim.
Paul, this is
Yep.
Jim. I
Yes,
just
sir.
have a question. Do
Yep.
you have like a PowerPoint, electronic of your presentation?
Yeah, I can send it. It's big, and so it's gonna come as a Google link, and you'll have to download it with all the photos in it. It's too big to send.
Yeah.
But as long as you can, I kind of set it up so you can download it. Judy, right? You were able to get it, right?
I was able to get it. Yeah.
I sent it for her approval about 10 minutes before we got on the air here. So
Okay.
You don't want to give her too much time there, you know.
yeah. If you give me your email address, maybe I can send you the link.
Can you put it in the chat, Jim?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, if you just send me that, or I can even, if you want to, you can do it this way too. Right there's my email address if you want to jot it down. lionpauljacobus@gmail.com. And then I can fire it right back on a link to you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you
And
very
if you
much.
want to see, if you want to, you know, our Facebook page, that's at Lakeville Lions, Lakeville, Minnesota, because there's like 5 Lakevilles in the United States. You can go there and all those photos and the different projects, you can kind of shoot through there. Our social media person, she shoots 100 pictures and she uploads them all every time. So you can really go down the rabbit hole on photos if you'd like.
Okay,
Okay, great. All right, anything else? Otherwise, we will say good night. Thank you all for coming, and please share get people to come to the webinars in the future. We'd really love to have a lot of people on these to talk and learn and collaborate. So thanks much.
thank you
Sounds
all.
good.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Paul.